Hey, this is JT. Welcome to Body Weight Strength. In this video, I want to talk about tracking calories and using devices to do so, and why tracking calories and calories in and calories out can suck and totally screw you up. First of all, calories are a unit of measure, right? So they are just like a gallon of gas or a liter of gas. They're simply a way to measure energy. And so I feel that the best way to achieve long-term success in basically your fitness related goals is to set up a way of eating that is sustainable and provides for long-term success, right? I don't count calories on a regular basis. I don't think it's something you need to do on a regular basis to get results. We didn't even know what calories were until fairly recently in history. So to make an argument that you need to count calories to be successful is foolish. With that being said, I'm not anti-counting calories. If you want to count calories, if you want to track your macros or whatever the case is, that's perfectly fine. But there's definite pitfalls that you want to avoid that I think lead people to often throw their hands up in frustration and determine that counting your macros or your calories doesn't really work. And what spurred me to kind of do this video, and this is a topic that will require more than one video unless I'm going to babble on and make the video way too long, which I don't want to do. Had somebody message me on Twitter, and they basically said, hey, I started a carnivore diet 2 weeks ago, and I went and got an in-body machine scan. So this is a machine that basically is supposed to measure your body fat levels, your lean mass levels, and tell you what your body composition is along with your weight. And then you go back periodically and you get updates, and then you're supposed to look for the change or look for the delta over time, and this will tell you if you're on track. Okay, so what this individual did is they started out on a carnivore diet, and they are resistance training, and so they are basically working out, and they are eating a high protein, moderate fat, almost zero carb diet. Okay, now science and everything that we know about strength training and about diet tells us that if you eat adequate protein and you resistance train and you're in a caloric deficit, it is physically impossible to, number one, gain weight, but it's also extra physically impossible to lose muscle while gaining weight, and that weight gain to come in the form of fat. Okay, so think about what happened when this individual messaged me. In the message, he basically said, it's been 2 weeks. I got an in-body scan at the start, and I got an in-body scan now, 2 weeks later. And so this scan's telling me that I gained a kilo of body fat and lost a kilo of lean tissue. So this means that this person basically had a almost 4 pound swing, right? A 2 kilo swing. So lose a kilo of lean mass plus gain a kilo of fat. This is basically going to be a double negative or a double whammy, right? But the individual is eating, once again, high protein, almost zero carb, and moderate to higher fat. Even if this person was not in a caloric deficit or not in an energy deficit, if he's resistance training and if he's eating high protein, then losing a kilo of lean tissue over 2 weeks is physically impossible, right? But this machine is saying that he lost a kilo of lean tissue and gained a kilo of fat, which is extra impossible. Okay, so if it had said that he gained both lean tissue and fat, then we could say, well, maybe you're consuming excess energy, and so your body has no choice but to build tissue, and you built lean tissue or muscle, and you also built or added body fat. But that's not what the machine said. So the reason I mention this is that we love technology and we love science, and rightly so, right? It improves our lives in many ways, but sometimes we think of science and technology as absolute. So we get on this machine, and in 2 weeks, we perform the actions and we eat the things that are going to allow us to achieve success, but then we get on the machine that says we're not successful, and we start to second guess our program. When in reality, what happened is the machine's inaccurate, I guarantee you. And it's the machine that should not be trusted. The process should be trusted. So to back this up a bit, there was a study that came out recently, well, I guess 2 years ago, so it's not super recent, but a study came out in 2017 by Stanford, And what the study did is it looked at fitness trackers. So your Apple Watch, your Fitbit, Samsung's Gear, whatever it's called, a Garmin, and a Fitbit. There was like 7 or 8 of them. I can't remember them all. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to link the study in the video notes so that you can go check out the video notes, click on the study, and go read the study for yourself if you'd like. But what they found is that these fitness trackers that people wear are accurate within 5%, majority of them are accurate within 5% at measuring heart rate. So they're really good for measuring your heart rate and keeping your heart rate in a desired area or desired zone. But what they found is that they're incredibly inaccurate for measuring energy expenditure. So what that means is you wear this watch that tells you burned 3,000 calories today. Okay, so then what happens is people are making life choices such as, well, how much should I eat? Well, I got to eat another 1,000 calories, or I've got to eat 500 less calories, or whatever choice they're making based on the data from this fitness tracker measuring energy expenditure. But here's the kicker. The most accurate device was off by an average of 27%. Okay, so for every 1,000 calories that this thing tells you that you burned in a day, it's off by 270 calories. Okay, so you can see where in a 2,000 or 3,000 calorie a day diet, it's going to be off by 500 to 700 calories roughly, to 750 calories, meaning you cannot make any decision based on this device. And that was the most accurate device, which, if I recall correctly, was the Apple Watch. The least accurate device was off by, I think, 87%. Like I said, I'm going off memory. I read it a while back, but I will put the link in the video notes. So if you're making decisions based on this tracker, whichever brand it was, it's off by 80-something%, this thing could be telling you you're burning 4,000 calories and you're only burning 2,000. And so you're grossly overeating, and it could be totally screwing you up. And so what studies have found is that people who use fitness tracker device to make dietary choices actually do less well with regards to losing weight and achieving their goals. So what that means is, if you are a data person, right, which I actually am a data person, like I love technology and numbers and all this stuff, but I don't wear a fitness tracker. I don't use the sleep ring because that's also super inaccurate. I've dug into that. And so I don't use these types of devices because they're very inaccurate. And so the InBody machine, and I'll look for some studies on that as well, but right when the person messaged me, knowing how inaccurate these devices are in the first place, and from past experience in the fitness industry and with basically the handheld body fat devices, they're terribly inaccurate. And so I've seen all these body fat measuring devices have great inconsistency and inaccuracy over time in the same person, even day after day, from one day to the next, being off several percent. Okay, so the reason that I mention all this and what I'm going to wrap up with this video is a calorie is a unit of measure, a gram of protein, a gram of carbs, a gram of fat. These things are units of measures. If you want to track these things, track them by weighing the food and by writing it out by hand or entering it in an app or whatever, but don't use your energy expenditure based on a tracking device as a way to alter what you're eating. And don't use the data from some body fat machine to alter what you're doing necessarily, because these devices and this technology can be wildly inaccurate and can totally screw you up. So if you're not sure if you have your diet or your training or whatever set up in a manner that's going to help you be successful, then you can totally reach out. I'll help you as within reason as much as I can for free. I don't have a problem with that. I want people to find success, and I want people to build strength and be healthy and all that stuff. But if you have your eating, your way of eating, and if you have your method of training set up for success, then trust the process and stick your nose to the grind and train with intensity, right? Intensity of effort, and stick to what you're doing, and results will happen over time, right? You don't need to second guess based on devices and all this other stuff. I guess that's pretty much the moral of this video, is to set yourself up for success. And once you feel like you're set up for success, trust the process. And if you are then looking in the mirror week after week and not visibly seeing success, that's the best measure of whether or not something's working for you. So if you're not seeing success visually on yourself, then maybe it's time to troubleshoot and alter the process. But like I mentioned, if you feel like you've got things set up well, trust the process, keep going, If you have questions, reach out and ask. I'll help the best that I can. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, click subscribe, click the notification bell so you're notified when I do new videos. Go down to the show notes, read the study on the fitness trackers. Those things suck for measuring caloric expenditure. This is JT. Thanks for supporting my content, and I'll see you in the next video.